Welcome back to the show, folks. It's another DriveTime transfer news update. Other little bits of news to get through, of course. It is deadline day, so clubs at the moment have till 11 o'clock tonight. 12 o'clock I think to complete paperwork, but 11 o'clock tonight is deadline day. Don't forget to join us tonight. 8 o'clock I'm going to be doing an Aston Villa preview for the Shankly sessions, and then I'm also going to be covering deadline day. The last hour is getting covered. I just adjust this wobbling all over the place. Now there you go. Yeah, so we're going to get into some transfer news. Of course, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification. It's a beautiful fresh morning here on Friday here on the east coast of Ireland. Good luck to everyone today going to Electric Picnic, big musical festival this weekend. My own daughter Lauren is at it. Hopefully they're going to get good weather by the looks of things. Well deserved. They were setting up yesterday and it was an absolute washout, raining all day till about 4 o'clock. So hopefully they get the weather that they want. But let's get into this transfer news and news update. And we're going to start with Ryan Gravenberch. Is supposed to be on his way to Liverpool. Flight was cancelled last night. Hoping that's not an indication like the Caicedo deal. Fingers crossed everything is all good. But he's supposed to be boarding a flight this morning, get to Liverpool early, get the medical done. Question is, will Liverpool do any more business? Is a centre back going to come in, or are we going to fall just that bit short again of what we should be really doing? Hasn't really been the rebuild that we thought it would be. 10 players exiting the building, 4 players coming in. Not a massive rebuild really when you think about it. Nowhere near the money spent that we thought was going to be spent. But still, it's certainly a revitalised midfield, and there's some optimism out there. Now, as talk rumble on, Al Ittihad are supposed to be coming back in with a massive bid for Mo Salah, in excess of £120 million. Will the club stand firm on this? Will Mo Salah stay, or will they accept the bid and will Mo Salah go? And then it would be too late probably to spend that money or get anyone else in. Or have Liverpool already been working in the background? If Mo Salah goes, will they have a player ready to come in? Is that the way it's all being set up? We don't know. I would hope that Mo Salah at least stays for another year so we can prepare better for his exit. The talk is somewhat that the money might still be there. I don't think it would be to that extent as Mo enters into the last year of his contract. Plus he'll be 32 at that stage as well. And certainly Al Ittihad would have wanted him in this season with that World Club Cup tournament coming up. They'd want Mo Salah involved in that. It's a massive deal for the club. It's a massive deal for Mo Salah. One that's very, very hard to turn down. So it'll be interesting to see what the reaction is today. Does Mo stay? Now we know the Saudi window is going to rumble on at least till the 7th. There's talk it might go on to the 20th. They're kind of making up the rules as they go along, you know. So it could still happen after today, which would leave us in somewhat of a predicament. Of course, very hard to replace Mo Salah's consistency. Very hard to replace his goal contributions, his goals, his assists, all that kind of stuff. Really, really important to Liverpool Football Club. Question is, if he did go and we hadn't got time to get a replacement in and had to strengthen in January, do we have enough up front to bridge that gap? Is there lads there, the likes of Jota, Darwin Núñez, Luis Diaz? Can they step up and bridge the assists and goals that we would lose with Salah exiting the building if it was to happen? Let's see what happens there. Interesting one. Sergio Reguilon has completed his medical for Man United, going in there on a loan with a break clause in January if needed. Much more of a stopgap with Malacia being injured and Luke Shaw being injured. We'll talk about Luke later. There's an update on him there. But certainly these are interesting moves for United, and it's going to be interesting when the window closes to actually see the news that comes out and what unfolds about where Man United actually are financially and stuff like that, because they have moved on a couple of players as well. The talk was that Fred moved on, Henderson moved on, and those deals have been completed, that the money would be there for Amrabat, but it doesn't seem that that's the case. So how bad are they in terms of financial fair play? Really not what Eric Ten Hag was expecting at all, and it's certainly been a very unflattering window. Big game coming up the weekend against Arsenal at the Emirates as well. Will we see Rasmus Højlund make his debut? Varane injured, Shaw injured, Mount injured. Hasn't been a great start to the season, although they've got over the line in 2 of the matches. interesting season for Man United. Let's see what happens there. Jaffa Tanganga looks like he could be exiting Spurs on his way to Augsburg. Fulham are looking at a 25 million bid for Hallberg off Spurs after he was supposed to be going to United, but obviously that doesn't look like it's going to happen now. Dean Henderson, as we said, has completed his move to Crystal Palace. What else we got there? Celtic have completed the loan move for our own Nat Phillips, which is very, very interesting, because if you think about it, you've got Liverpool today. The dynamic of this is crazy. You've got Liverpool today in the Europa League draw at 12 o'clock, and you've got Nat Phillips potentially playing for Celtic in the Champions League. Crazy, crazy, crazy stuff when you think about it. Absolute madness. Arsenal could also complete today up to 6 deals. Looks like Vin Oyedewu and Arteta are going to be very busy this Friday, not only preparing for the welcoming committee of Man United to the Emirates on Sunday for Super Sunday, but also a lot of deals to be tied down. Let's see who they're looking at. Eric Garcia could potentially come in. They're looking at putting Holding out the door, Nuno Tavares, Suarez, Pepe, and Sambi Lokonga. So a lot of work to be done there, but interesting, that list of players, 5 players outgoing and stuff like that. How does that leave the squad then in terms of the depth and everything else? Are these players, are they just being carried? Are they passages? Obviously Pepe's an interesting one. Holding, of course, is quite versatile and stuff like that. Is that one that Arteta's happy to go out the door and stuff like that? And with them being a little bit tight at the back, would it be the right move to be letting Rob Holding go? Let's see what people think. Let us know your comments, Gunners down in the comment section. Spurs looking at Conor Gallagher at the moment. I think Chelsea as well is another one of those teams where there's a lot of business still to be done. Probably a lot of outgoings as well as incomings. Let's see what happens today. They will be busy deadline day as well. Talk of Callum Hudson-Odoi, potentially the deal getting hijacked by Fulham. He was supposed to be on his way to Forest. Forest have done the groundwork on the deal. Let's see how that pans out as well. Lukaku has completed his loan move to Roma, and the interviews, they just get worse and worse, don't they, when you look at Lukaku? I can't believe the welcoming and the love of the Roma fans and all this kind of thing. Man, he's ran out of everywhere that he goes. He leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth no matter where he is, and he was left for going to Roma. No one else took him in. The Juve fans were going ballistic if he got signed. Inter never wanted to see him again. Chelsea fans have made it fairly known how they feel about the guy. We know how United fans felt about him when he was there, you know. But the one thing that does stick in this is Jose Mourinho, and Jose Mourinho has been able to find the best of Romelu Lukaku, and maybe that's the case. He can put an arm around him, make him feel loved, make him feel important, and that's when he's at his best. Really, he's just one of these emotional, confidence kind of players, stuff like that. And when he's on, he's excellent. But when he falls off the wagon, it's absolutely crazy to fall from grace, you know. So absolute madness. What else have we got for you there at the moment? Yeah, let's get into some news anyway. Luke Shaw, looks like Luke Shaw is going to be out for about 10 weeks. So who knows, that brings you up into probably November. But it could be a bit longer by the time he comes back to fitness and everything else that has to happen. So be interesting to see what happens there. Shame really, because he did on the back of a very good season last season. He was very consistent in his performances and stuff like that, and he's a big loss for Man United, and especially having the boy Malacia out at the moment as well. We know Rafael Varane looks like he's going to be out for up to 5 to 6 weeks as well, as United prepare for the visit to Arsenal. And of course their new signing in midfield, Mason Mount, is also out as well. Undisclosed time on that, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But United at the moment really struggling in the market to get players in that they wanted. Look really hampered. I don't think it's they don't have money. I think it's that they just can't spend it because of financial fair play. And it must be crazy looking at that when you think of the revenues that United generate and stuff like that. And then you look at the likes of Chelsea, which don't generate anywhere near the United revenues, and they're just blasting money out the door, bringing players in, pushing players out and stuff like that, commanding top dollar as well. Bringing in Cole Cole Palmer there the other day. What do you make of that, folks? 45 million the fee for that boy. I think that's absolutely massive. Now, he could turn out he's an excellent player, and it could turn out that he's a really, really good player. But to be dropping 45 million on that boy at this stage in his career, it's absolutely madness. I'm not too sure. Even as inflated as the marketing, how inflated is that? I mean, when you look at that boy going out for 45 million, and you look at United's one, Zidane Iqbal going to Utrecht for $1 million. You know, the comparison and the drop-offs are crazy. Now, I'm not saying the two boys are at the same level, but when you do it like as a comparison, you see the likes of Chelsea and City getting top wage for their players moving out, and United just getting bent over a barrel for the fees that they're getting. It's just nowhere near the same, you know. Tony Cruz has been out talking about how he's been savaging players going to Saudi Arabia and stuff like that, saying, oh, it's just a money grab, it's all about the money. Mate, tell me how many times you played for Real Madrid for free. You know what I mean? Now, I don't know whether this is bitterness in terms of the career and stuff like that. I'm not too sure in terms of the money that he has earned. I'm wondering, is he looking for an offer from Saudi? Was he putting himself out there that he wanted to be in it? I'm not too sure. Fabulous player, unbelievable, highly decorated. Has been in Real's midfield for God knows how many years at this stage. Won it all. But to be coming out and complaining to players about taking big money deals going to Saudi when you've spent more than a decade probably at Real Madrid, absolutely coining it in, seems to me to be talking out of both sides of your mouth, so I wouldn't be interested in that. The AFL also admitted that Newcastle had gotten the wrong numbered ball in the draw. I'm sure Newcastle feel a little bit peeved by that. They drew Man City. And I think there was a mix-up between their ball and Fulham's ball, I think it was. So that should have been switched. But it looks like the draw is going to go ahead. I wonder, could Newcastle appeal that, and could they push for a motion for a redraw? I'm not too sure, because if there's a mistake, clearly the draw should be done again. But let's see what happens. Maybe Newcastle, not sure whether they would be overly happy to proceed, drawing Man City in the Carabao Cup, potentially going out in the first round or the third round as the Premier League say it, or whatever it is. So it'll be interesting to see how they feel about that. Would they push for a redraw if there's a mistake, or are they happy to continue with the draw and face Man City? Interesting stuff. Chelsea fans fuming at the moment over Sterling's omission from the England squad. I was talking to Ian on our WhatsApp group yesterday, Chelsea fan Ian, of course, from the Chelsea Roar, and we were saying that, like, I think it's a blessing in disguise. I think with the amount of injuries that Chelsea's incurring at the moment, the last thing they need is Sterling to go off on international duty and get injured potentially. And remember, they have Levi Colwill going off as well to the England squad as well, and remember, if he gets injured, they'd be in serious trouble. You know, so I think it could be a blessing in disguise. It is kind of unfair. Sterling has been shown great form this season. Looking back to the old Raheem Sterling of yesteryear, if you like, but he's been absolutely fabulous the first 3 games. So he'll feel hard done by that he's not in the England squad. But I think for Chelsea fans, you should be absolutely happy that it's happened. Because any more injuries, especially a guy like Raheem Sterling, who's so influential up the top end of the pitch and stuff like that, for him to pick up a knocker and injury away with England will be catastrophic to your season, I think. And especially now with the window closed, you wouldn't be able to do a whole lot of business, and you wouldn't be able to fix it. But again, let us know your thoughts down in the comments. That's it, folks. Just a quick transfer update and some news headlines that have come out and stuff like that. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments. Let us know about your club. Has it done the business that you wanted it to do? Is there more to be done? What you see happening today? It is deadline day. We'll be following it throughout the day. Anything that happens, we will drop shorts, of course. And then from there, we'll move on to tonight's 2 shows. Aston Villa preview, 8 o'clock. And then 10 o'clock, we'll be counting down deadline day. Join us for that tonight. Cheers, folks.